Hi, yeah, it's me again. We're going to go through the next phase of Theory of All of Us, starting with entanglement. Biocosmology is the science of the interconnectedness of all things, not just people, places, or things, but substances as well. We consider ourselves to be individual, and this is quite true in the classic sense. However, since space can bend, ripple, and twist while it shapes the cosmos, then it makes sense that we can too. Space warps with cosmological laws, making adjustments automatically to stimulus, and matter fluxes with it. Time slows down as flux occurs in any containment field or mass. Space molds to the direction of intent and travel. Time, space, matter, being of the same entity, gives one the sense that it is truly cognizant, that is quite possibly a cosmic consciousness, or at least the imprint of that consciousness. Much the same as scientists have discovered that the matter encased in a black hole is imprinted on the corona of it, somewhat as if the signal of the informational data that is absorbed by the black hole is still available and active externally. Again, we see here that one particle or piece of information has a counterpart that it is entangled with. Gravity, expressed as it is, warps space by matter waves, which curves time-space-matter fabric. In spinning black holes that twist space along behind it, leaving a wormhole tunneling effect curvature expressing activated matter. The internal spiral will continually attempt to resolve itself. The action of this spinning movement charges or activates the magnetic flux in time-space matter, thus creating a wormhole that can be found again. We take note of the Fibonacci sequence here, repeating in every natural spiral found. This significant discovery points to the substantiation of the biocosmological axiom that all things in biological nature will grow according to the DNA structure of the building blocks from which it has sprung. In other words, we all spring from the same substances, and so we are biologically and magnetically entangled with each other. The only action required to spark that entanglement is to interact. The more intense the experience, the deeper the entanglement. Emotions play a big part here and can manifest in a physical matter, both in the body and in our environment. We move on to space travel. Yes, space travels. Space is continually expanding exponentially. It is a moving force. When the Big Bang occurred, if it occurred, the explosion required a firing flux of biological material radiating with nuclear force. That force is still radiating and traveling and is as much a part of space-time matter as the matter we can see. Again, I say, space is traveling and we are with it. Space matter fabric is potentially either activated or inactivated, as I have said. Upon interaction with stimuli, space matter fabric activates dormant magnetic particles within it and within the mass or matter with which it is interacting. Both types of particles then magnetically spark each other, causing time-space matter to be activated. This is when I believe biocosmological connections present a pulse to the rest of the universe, which is then downloaded, as it were, by the cosmic consciousness of the universe itself. It is like the data has been presented, acknowledged, and filed for further investigation. By this premise, dark energy is thus inactivated space-time matter. We find this phenomena different from the black hole, which is currently condensed matter and gravity. The explanation of dark matter is difficult when we think of that space between planets and galaxies is 3/4 dark matter. Again, here I liken the image of this to the molecule. Microscopically, there is much more space in a molecule than particles, which is a fair analogy. As above, so below, as within, so without. Inactivated time-space matter is like the protons, neutrons, and positrons drifting around without the electrons to magnetically hold the molecule together. That combination would be repulsed by each other. It is a theory worth looking at. To fold space, we have to learn what folding ourselves is like. Here we look at geometric combinations. Physicist Nassim Haramein has come up with a design which he believes demonstrates the flower of life design, which really is what happens to the particles of our building blocks once they magnetically spark each other and amalgamate to form DNA structures. I think he may be right. He superimposes 20 tetrahedrons and presents a complex but composed diagram of a self-modulating geometric structure that does what I call self-feed or self-generate. I believe this structure is the fractal geometric pattern that matter disintegrates into when entering the negative terminal, and then also will reintegrate to when entering into the positive terminal space-time matter field. When we look at this geometric pattern, it seems to resolve itself. I project that if we are able to construct this same pattern energetically, I believe that matter can and would change form. Experimentation in this field is paramount to discovering teleportation technology and the possible galactic travel, although it is a stretch. Time formulations. Mass slows things down. Literally, the density of mass causes the entropy to occur in conjunction with the force of gravity. Now, gravity exists differently in different places. However, that does not mean that space-time matter acts differently because of gravity. The ratio of gravity to matter mass of planet to space field is always the same. For every 1 pound of wave field grav matter, there is 10 meters of time-space matter that it can fall through or move through per second. That means that whatever the density of gravity on any planet, one calculates the wave fields based on the mass of the planet, meaning how dense is the gravity on its surface and its core magnetics, its distance from its sun, and of course whether or not grav waves are congruent with its size. Here I just want to explain that here on Earth the grav is 1 pound 10 meters per square second. That's called 1 grav. On anywhere else, we consider that to be a measurement unit. As in the case of the planet Mercury, whose surface material has blown apart and its core is all that can be seen. Yet, its gravitational force is still that of a planet which is bigger and contains more material. This fact shows us what? This is so significant. I wonder if anyone else has pondered this. The planet Mercury, according to physicist Dr. Brian Greene in his televised show of the Cosmos, shows us that the planet itself has been destroyed, but its gravitational pull is the same, as if it weren't harmed at all. Which brings me to my point. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. All that was will be again, only in another form. The core of Mercury sustains the gravity of that of a larger planet and will continue to do so to maintain the equilibrium of the solar system as it was meant to do from its beginning. In other words, whatever happened to Mercury could happen to the Earth itself, but it would not change the galactic equilibrium that the Earth carries. The interconnectedness of all things. Yes, this affects time also, since time, space, matter are one of the same phenomena. Past, present, future are all the same wave field, only different perspectives of it. Think of it as an equilateral triangle, and as a tri-pyramid at 60 degrees in each corner. When you have 2 points, you can move in a linear fashion. When you have 3 points, you can move in a dimensional fashion. The time-space-matter field that is moving through that space gets interrupted by mass or other energy, causing entropy that allows us to perceive time as a moment-to-moment experience. Yet it is really happening on all dimensional levels and acting differently in different places, according to the matter waves around it. What does that tell us? That time is a program, not a construct, and so therefore can be manipulated. Since thoughts are energy and energy cannot be created or destroyed, it stands to reason that T energy, time energy, can change form. The energy that causes the thought forms to exist in matter fields exist in dark matter. Dark matter does not exist in our thoughts alone, but can manifest as thought forms as it congregates conceptualization that could manifest with potential applications. So, entropy in a gravity environment slows time down as it interacts with matter. It is moving along with the rest of time-space matter at the speed of light, and suddenly time-space matter warps due to interacting with gravity and the magnetic field of a planet or sun. It's traveling through neutral space until it becomes activated by the magnetic interaction. So you have a magnet right here. It's just hanging out, doing nothing. Suddenly another magnet comes and boom, it begins to interact, changing that wave field as soon as it begins to interact. This is how I'm referring to it. This is the analogy. It is traveling in, right, okay, here we go, excuse me. I see it as being in a negative, positive state, wave field, but as soon as it comes into activation fields, it becomes negative, positive, thus slowing down a gravitational matter field. This allows us to experience time, as I said, as a moment-to-moment occurrence. It bends, just like space, and moves in and out of dimensions. It is part of and creates a grav-space-time-matter flux field, according to the biomagnetic corona of the Earth or mass it is interacting with. When it is in a slowed down state, it acts more like a particle being tangible, and when it speeds up, it acts more like a wave field. Like the peeling of a banana, time unfolds through space-time matter and through antimatter, or as I call it, the mirror dimension. Quantum leaps function the same as muon wave frequency, so why not time? As it is also a wave field that moves similarly to a light wave. We use the formulas for orbit, arc, and ripple. Orbit, Fg equals gm1 m2 over r. Arc, r equals v and partial derivative sine wave field over psi gravitational wave field. Ripple is c equals the square root of g wave field 2 pi tan h 2 pi d wave field. I will explain these to you here. However, we are about to end this session, so the next time we come on, we'll explain these formulas in detail. Thanks very much for your time. I look forward to seeing you again.